Hey, what's up, guys? Ash here, and we're kicking it old school. We're, of course, talking about the OG himself, Albus, today. We're going to be diving into melee version of Magic Knight. This is going to be far different from Great Swordsman, and I do consider Magic Knight as a whole to be a far more advanced class than Great Swordsman. Technically, Great Swordsman has a 70% chance to win at all times, which is great and awesome, and it has its place. But I do think that you have to understand a lot more. So I will leave the link down below for the Great Swordsman build. But if you really want to give it a shot, go for it. Nobody's holding you back. Without further ado, let's hop straight into the video. Magic Knight towards the middle of the game has an easier focus on magic, and you can get ranged caster Magic Knight to be quite powerful, but as you lead into late game, you'll start to find less and less magical swords. Well, I'm not really sure why Dandelion did this. Magic Knight has a surprisingly good melee kit that centers around slashing in particular, and that's where we're going to focus on today. For our newer players, Magic Knight has a criminal organization specialty. That means that really any human, they get classified into criminals, spoonists, wanted men, or like troublemakers, whatever you want to call it. This generally just basically means all humans as a whole. And this includes damage bonuses to Magic Knight, defensive bonuses to Magic Knight, and in general has a much easier time taking down human type enemies. Probably the most notable of Melee Magic Knight's abilities is the Cursed Sword mechanic. Each stack of Curse of Sword will give you 1 speed, 5 attack, 5 ESP power, 3 armor, and 3 resistance. And this stacks up to a whopping 99 stacks. This will give you approximately 100 speed, 500 attack, 500 ESP power, 300 armor, and 300 resistance. And it's just, in general, absolutely nuts. Basically turns Albus into Super Saiyan mode. And although it is interesting to see the attack power and the speed and whatnot, what most people traditionally think of, the 300 armor and 300 resistance is no joke either. And you'll see him at full stacks be able to one-shot things he couldn't do before, and be able to tank things that you just honestly would not think he could possibly tank. There are 5 different ways to gain Curse of Sword. The first 2 are going to be through the Bloodlust Sword Mastery set, and this is going to be causing bleeding using slashing as the first way. The second way will be dealing more than 66% of a target's health. The third way is going to be the Holy Demonic Sword Mastery set, which will be putting a criminal out of action via slashing. Fourth way will be Infinity Sword Mastery set. That'll be putting any enemy out of action. This includes beasts as well, so it's not specific to just criminals. It just has a criminal specialty. And then finally, the fifth way will be through the Soul Reaver Mastery set, which at the end of turn, if your vigor is at maximum, it'll take a small amount and then just give you a free stack. Normally, you'll get about 3 stacks per kill, usually from type 2, 3, and 4, along with supplementary stacks from number 5 whenever you do end your turn. You can technically get 4 stacks per kill, but it would have to be a very specific situation. But as you can see here, we're at currently 94 stacks. We just killed Dalsu, 97 stacks. So it's not impossible at all to do 100 stacks. I wouldn't say it's like everyday run of the mill, but he is at full power right now, and even units that are normally tanks, he's now one-shotting, which is just absolutely insane. Of course, if you get enough stacks of Cursed Sword, then Shadowblade will eventually be able to shred almost any block in the game. Right here we have Jazai, and he's running some crazy amount of maybe like 150% block at the moment. But you'll notice inferiority. I think this is from Lost Spirit. Alligator Blade, which of course is shredding 30%, which is great. And then Shadowblade at a nice 98 stacks will be 1% per stack of Cursed Sword. So Albus is currently shredding 138% block. Jalzai has 148% at the current moment, so he's only blocking with 10%. This basically makes it so that, you know, if you get high enough in stacks, it really doesn't matter what kind of defenses they have, as Albus is just going to absolutely annihilate them, and Zhao Zai is no exception. Of course, it won't be just stellar offense. We're also going to be having incredible defense as well. And this time, instead of what I would normally push you guys towards, which is block and occasionally dodge with, like, let's say Ray or Litan, we're actually going to be going for full-on damage reduction. It's not about dodge or block; it's just pure damage reduction. And we're going to be doing this via Blessing of Avalon and Second Wind. So if you notice right here, we've got a Thought up there, and Boris is actually down below, and we're gonna go ahead and just let him take some pop shots, and you know, you'd be amazed at how ridiculous his damage reduction is right now, especially from humans. This of course does work on beasts as well. But yeah, if you can see right here, you know, when a Thought does 1 damage, man, you know your defenses are good. But not only is Albus's defense is going to be good, he's going to have support abilities that basically recover the majority of his life and vigor. This is just absolutely crazy. So right here, he actually triggered Blessing of Avalon, which, as long as you have enough vigor, will actually prevent you from dying at all times. And that makes this incredibly insane. So right now, he's at 722 health and probably about 10 vigor or so. And we're going to 2-shot Renzi, and notice his health and vigor now. I mean, he just jumped straight up to 1600 and full vigor. This allows him to have a sustain that you wouldn't normally see on a character. You know, he can kind of attack, he can kind of, you know, defend and tank and whatnot, and it's absolutely nuts. So right here, we actually ran out of attack abilities because we're not running Catharsis. We're only running 1 strike, 1 head. So I'm going to use Overcharge to get that back on this Ranger just to get the attack slot back and go from there. Also interesting to note, watch how much Vigor gets consumed. So right now he's at 41 stacks of Curse of Sword. And as it gets stronger and stronger, your vigor will disappear. So right there you see it's subtracting 43. But thankfully, because of soul drain, he's recovering, well, max. So it'll go right back up to full again. This is just absolutely wild. And so you have these large amounts of, like, you know, you have no vigor, you have tons of vigor, and it actually... the max amount of vigor that you have will play a large part into your defenses on this build. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But, you know, as he gets stronger and stronger, the Curse of Sword is going to take more and more vigor. Okay, and we have the abilities overview. So, Albus's basic, honestly, nothing to write home about. There's no bonus to exposed or anything like that, like you'd see on some other characters. 3 important things: 100% attack power. There is no ESP modifier, which is unfortunate because Magic Knight actually has a decent ESP pool. 2, activates bleeding on targets with a 75% chance, and this may be different if you've been running Great Swordsman. So with Great Swordsman, chances are you're probably running Traces of Blood, and it's going to give activating severe bleeding 100% of the time. So something to keep in mind, you really want to be doing 1 shot, 1 kill with Wind Slash. You know, you shouldn't ever be trying to do, you know, 2 hits. If that's the case, then definitely use Tornado Slash. And 3, it is a dashing attack. Like any good Wind ESP user, mobility is the name of the game. So him and Bianca are able to move around the map at unparalleled speeds. Because of a lot of different reasons, but for Albus's reason is the dashing attacks. So for general abilities, I'm going to recommend Tornado Slash, Wind Walk, Turning Over New Leaf, and Magic Amp, with the only maybe being Magic Amp, and we'll go over that shortly. So Tornado Slash, this is bread and butter. We will be taking Bloodbath, so if you kill on second hit, you will get a full refund of action points. Also important to note, this is pooling ESP power. So, you know, you will be using that extra bonus ESP to increase his damage within Tornado Slash. Very cool. Also important to note, guaranteed bleeding, so your Bloodbath will work as long as it's not machine. And then you are going to get bonus damage for target in exposed state. Tornado Slash is just ridiculously awesome and absolutely mandatory. Windwalk, classic staple for movement. Either, you know, that jump to the sniper tower or just that little bit of extra movement. Can't go wrong. Turning over a new leaf, probably the most powerful ability that he has in his kit. It's basically 2 turns. And this has far more uses than the obvious, and we'll go over that right now, actually. So we won't be taking Gentle Gust or Fresh Breeze, and not because of, you know, there's no lack of ESP power on this build. That's not the problem. The problem is that the majority of the masteries that we're going to take are slashing attack type, and that's just a Magic Knight thing. So Gentle Gust shooting will not benefit from like a, you know, 100% block shred from Shadow Blade because it's shooting, which is really unfortunate, because if you could do that, man, Gentle Gust would definitely take the 4th slot, at least for me. Fresh Breeze is also pretty cool, just doesn't fit in. It's a fall type attack, and also very low ESP power modifier. It's saved for ranged caster Magic Knight for sure. Honorable mention to Windveil. This is where turning over a new leaf comes in handy. If you wanted to, you could leaf and then Windveil and then keep this buff up on you the whole time. It's really not bad. It's just, you know, on its own, consuming all remaining AP, that's really nasty. Nobody likes seeing that. So, and Albus can't do, unlike Bianca, Albus can't do anything about the action point cost. So, why are we going to take Magic Amp? This is going to increase ESP power by 10 for every character level, so level 52, that'll be 520 ESP power. It's also going to consume Vigor by 10 at the start of every turn, but we're not so worried about that because of Soul Drain. Soul Drain will keep this up indefinitely as long as you keep killing. So it actually sits really well in that sense, and it also takes 0 action points. So this is your self-buff before the fighting starts. Really can't go wrong with this. And the reason why we're going to be taking that ESP power is for the Magic Sword class mastery. So on physical attacks specifically, you're going to increase your hit chance by 3% of ESP power. And so Albus, as a Magic Knight base, has 313 ESP power, along with the 520 from Magic Amp will put him at 833, or what is the equivalent of approximately 25% hit chance. So this is going to cover these dashing attacks where you're paying that huge distance penalty. If you have the right gear, you could take this off and, you know, try out Windveil, or maybe you like bonding a lot and you want to throw on Gentle Gust. That's up to you. But I find that with my build, it just synergizes perfectly. And then finally for Overcharge, we're not going to be taking Gale Slash, and it's kind of sad because it's shooting. Again, will not be affected by Shadow Blade, which is really unfortunate because it is pulling 100% ESP power, and, you know, this will be 833 with Magic Amp and his base, but it's also going to be buffed by Curse of Sword. So eventually you're going to be getting into the 1300s of ESP power, and this would be crazy on Gale Slash, but no block shred. And, you know, I don't really care about the line attack because he's just going to mow people down in the line anyway. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Gale Slash is the right one to pick here. Storm Slash, it is going to pull ESP power as well, so Magic Amp is not just helping that hit chance, it's improving Storm Slash, it's improving Tornado Slash, so keep that in mind. Storm Slash also guaranteed bleeding, so you'll have that same bloodbath effect if you hit it multiple times, and, you know, this should be used on bosses or Krons or Destrons as you see fit. Again, turning over a new leaf. Storm Slash is not a dashing attack, unlike Wind Slash and Tornado Slash, so you could actually leaf over and then hit from still stance at 125% bonus damage. I use it quite often, and it's pretty awesome. Also, very odd, but Sharpening is exceptionally good here. So Sharpening is just going to increase your base. So literally from the reading, normally Wind Slash will deal 100 damage plus 100% attack power plus 50% Wind SP. This does not do so much for wind or tornado, but it does a lot for storm because the modifiers for storm are quartered. So, 25% attack power, 25% ESP power is very low. But with sharpening giving that extra 100, it's actually quite a lot more than people would think. And normally, sharpening gets a bad rap and for good reason. Okay, and then we have the stats and gear page. So this is not something I normally go into. I normally think that players should do their own gearing, and I don't know what gear they have, and normally I don't even touch this, but I think it'd be worth it to give a starting point here. So really quickly, personal mastery, this is really up to you. You really shouldn't be using responsibility though. If you're missing, you're doing something wrong for sure. And if you're getting blocked, you're probably doing something on the strategic level wrong. Windsword is really not that good. It's just 10% extra damage. So I take Opportunist, and I get quite a bit of use out of this, primarily out of crit chance and speed. But back to the board, you won't see anything impressive. He does have kind of a lower health pool, but his damage reduction is going to more than make up for that. Vigor, very important for this build, and the number of 30. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. Those are important numbers to keep in mind, and I'll show you that on the mastery board. Attack power, nothing to write home about. ESP power, do keep in mind that it'll be pulling from Magic Amp, and then all of these will be pulling from Curse of Swords, so you can add 500 to this attack power, you can add 500 to this ESP power, and that changes everything quite drastically. Hit chance for me, 95 plus 20%, so 115. However, with Magic Amp activated on its own, no Curse of Sword, you're going to go straight to 140. I generally say about 130 is appropriate, so this will more than make up for that distance penalty that Albus has to pay. Crit chance, this is actually a very important topic. So I'm currently running 52%. This is important because you want to be at least 50, and that's because of the flanking and exposed state bonus that's going to give you 50%. So if I'm at 52 and I flank something, then it'll be 102, which means 100% crit chance, and that's what you're really looking for. The only issue with this is when you run into targets that have keen sense and don't give flanking or bonus, and we're going to go over that in just a sec here. Critical hit damage is pretty nice. We are going to be taking one strike, one head, so sword manual for 150% is massive. Armor, actually this is going to be really good, especially at 100 stacks. You're going to be looking at 1500 armor, which is about what I consider tank levels. You're going to be looking at 70+% reduction. Resistance could use a little bit higher, but gotta work with what we have. At 900 or so, it's really not bad. Block and dodge, it's nice, but ultimately you really just need the damage reduction. For the weapon, guaranteed this will probably be the best weapon you can do, which is Alligator Blade for the block shred. This is going to get you started on your Curse of Sword, spree, and I highly recommend this. And you can easily farm 46 Violent. I actually have a video specific to farming 46 Violent, link down in the description. One of my older videos, so sorry for any audio issues. We'll come back to body piece. So mandatory, I would say take the 2-piece golden. He will get into some nonsense where he could be stunned. So for sure, take these two, and honestly, they're really not bad. Both of these are very good, and he needs the speed, really, and that's one of the golden set specialties. For the third piece, we're actually going to be taking perfect scale, and this is what just solidifies the damage reduction. This is what really takes it over the top. However, if you wanted to do a more offensive version of this build, I highly recommend Gold Molar Charm for the 3-set bonus. You're going to get that extra speed that'll put you at 100. You're going to get that extra crit chance that'll put you at, for my build, 67%, extra crit damage. It's also going to shred an immediate 15% block, so 45% with the Alligator Blade, plus another 15% if you put a physical debuff for a total of 60% on, like, let's say a Tornado Slash that's going to cause bleeding. This is just insane. But Jackie's perfect scale is also absolutely insane. This is a 7 training point gear piece and probably the best gear in the game. So it's going to remove exposed state / flanking target. It's going to give you lightning reflexes by dodging first responsive, and it's going to give you steel armor by reducing critical hit damage by 100%. So this is what I don't want to say. Albus is invincible in this build, but I will be showing a defensive showcase that I think you guys will really like. And then finally, so this is probably not the best piece. I needed a little bit of extra crit, so I threw this on, but you could actually use something like a good soul collector here. So, you know, notice that my current one has plus 30 vigor. This one is actually a base of plus 10 vigor for Hansen's suit, and it only got plus 1, which is really bad roll. But if you guys look at, and this is going to be, like I said before, a huge boon to Albus's defenses is what your vigor is going to be at. Soul Collector really is not bad because you will be able to take a shot at increased vigor. So I highly recommend that for sure. And in particular to this build, notice if I switch to this, I'd be at exactly 141 vigor. And that's unfortunate because remember, we're going by 30s here. So at 150 is the sweet spot. If this was a perfect roll, this would be at 150 vigor. It would be perfect. I would love to put this on, especially with the bonus crit chance. That would help make up for not having the 3-set golden bonus if I was running the defensive version of it. But just something to keep in mind. So to make up for that, not running the 3-set bonus, we are going to take Excitement Potion. And I understand a lot of people don't use potions or they forget about it or whatever. This is basically a buff potion, and you know you should use this along with Magic Amp. You know, if you're bad at using potions, use it right on the first turn so that you can't forget along with Magic Amp, and just consider it like a permanent buff because it is well, not a permanent buff, but it is really good. All right, guys, and we have the mastery board. This is the Muramasa build. In Japanese history, Muramasa swords were often depicted as cursed with like demonic powers and stuff, and it's been said that once they've been drawn, a Muramasa blade has to draw blood before it can be returned to its scabbard, and I just thought it really fit with the whole cursed sword theme. Never mind my geekiness. Anyway, so of course, feel free to pause at any time, take a look, take a gander, see what you would keep, see what you would throw out. This is fairly optimized. I would change maybe 1 or 2 things at most for Cruel Challenge, but otherwise, this is a very good build, and I highly recommend it. So to begin with, our core offensive masteries are what I like to call the Sword Trio. That is going to be Bloodlust Sword, Holy Demonic Sword, and Infinity Sword. And these are going to be 4 of your 5 ways to gain Curse of Sword stacks. Each one is a little bit different and brings something else to the table, but these are definitely mandatory, and stacking Curse of Sword is definitely the core portion of the build. We're also going to be taking Shadow Blade. Of course, Shadow Blade is going to be your block shred for by 1% for every stack of curse. So eventually you'll have 99% block shred just from this, 30% from the alligator blade, and potentially another 30% from gold molar, gold molar and the golden set. This is totally nuts. Also important to notice, attacking an enemy with slashing attack ability. Infinity Sword, attacking a target using slashing. Holy Demonic, putting criminal organization enemy out of action using slashing. Bola Sword, Deathbringer, causing bleeding type debuff by attacking an enemy with slashing. So, can you put Gentle Gust on there? Absolutely. But it's not going to benefit from, you know, all these amazing abilities that you have. And goodness gracious, if Shadow Blade did all attack types, oh, that would leave room for so many different types of builds. Anyway, little rant there. 1 strike, 1 head is going to be our final core offensive. This is going to give you give Albus that oomph to kill, and a lot of it's from Sword Manual. But you know, Sharp Blade is great too. Sharpening's okay. Sword Master is okay, but yeah, you're going to be getting your damage here. And notice we didn't really have room for Catharsis. So like I said, this is an advanced build. But on the right side, you will get so many stacks that eventually, even units that would normally tank or take 2 hits, with the exception of, you know, like Impulse Fields characters, will then become 1 hit. and that's through, you know, stacks and, you know, shredding block and stuff. So just something to keep in mind. All right, and for core defensive masteries, we're going to be taking Blessing of Avalon. This is where that vigor portion comes in. It's going to make up your damage resistance when the damage actually gets much higher. So, you know, you're going to get the flat damage reduction from Distortion Field, and then you're going to get Magic Shield, which it's going to consume vigor to basically give you damage reduction. Anytime your damage is higher than your max vigor, the damage will decrease by 3%. And this is where that 30 count comes in. And what's neat about this, and I know it doesn't explain it well, but Blessing of Avalon actually doubles Magic Shield. So, you know, let's say you have 150 vigor. This will be 15% damage decrease for Magic Shield, and then another 15% from Blessing of Avalon. So this will be a 30% damage decrease. Also, it'll reduce the cost of Magic Shield, so you'll lose less vigor. This also plays into the whole soul drain thing, where, you know, as long as you're killing, your vigor will stay high. As long as your vigor is high, you really can't die, as Blessing of Avalon will also give you basically an auto revive as long as your vigor is over 30. So pretty cool stuff, and definitely layers his defense, you know, not just the blocking, dodging, but also the Magic Shield plus revive. And we're also going to be taking Second Wind. Of course, this is a core staple for most wind users defensively. What's neat about this is also going to be damage reduction. So Haze is going to be melee damage by 20, and Wind Wall is going to be shooting, fall, throwing by 20. And then they're going to be increased up to 30 for both of them. So basically, you're going to have 30% damage reduction on everything from Second Wind, and 30% damage reduction from Blessing of Avalon, giving you a total of 60% Blessing of Avalon before you even consider stuff like Holy Sword, which will be Criminal's Organization decrease, and that'll be 90%. And that's when it gets really out of hand. That's when you see Athad doing his 1 damage, you know, and just being like, what the hell, what is going on here? But on top of that, Second Wind, of course, will be giving you that regeneration in the off chance Albus would get low. And I have a good video here. All right, so we're going to do a quick showcase on his damage resistances. I want to let people see, you know, how good it is firsthand. And I literally parked him right in the middle here in 50 Violent just to let people aim at him. And notice he just got confirmed target, which is a really powerful buff to have on. And so they have to get through the Draki Perfect Scale that, of course, is going to act as lightning reflexes. I even parked him next to Freeze Kron over here for auto fire support. And I don't know why the Master's so afraid of him. Wade comes in, one of the strongest damage dealers in the game. Wade does a total of 89 blocked. So that should give you guys an idea. It didn't even trigger Magic Shield. So, and of course, you know, like with Athad, snipers will not be able to do any damage to him at any point. Right here, you see the first trigger of Magic Shield. I think Freeze Kron there did 180 damage or so. So, you know, it's not that he is invulnerable, it's just incredibly hard to kill him. And he is in bush right now, which is helping, of course, for the dodge rate. But ultimately, this is what you'll generally see if you're playing him regularly. And this is if you made a horrible tactical maneuver. But what happens when we really push it to the far end? So we actually got him down to 1/3 here by surrounding him with an entire army and doing nothing over and over. Have you noticed they clenched fist him out of the bush too? So he's down into 1/3 range now, and he's getting autoed by Freeze Kron every single time. But now he's at 300. He's going to start triggering Second Wind, and you know, Second Wind just brought him back up to 500 here. This guy's going to crit for 20. And he's going to go from 360 back up to, what, 740? Wade's going to overwhelm. This isn't even his turn. Critical for 250. Trigger magic Shield. Bring him down to 490. Again, he gets a double hit in, probably from one of his abilities. Now he's down to 369. On top of course, constant support damage. He's now down to 263. Second Wind back up to 600. Shot from behind, 500. and he's going to go back up to 750 or so. Yeah, 772. Renzi comes in, block for 282. He's down to 490. Second wind's going to recover him again. So as you guys can see, it's ridiculous recovery, and to kill him would take not just an army. You'd need a lot, honestly. Okay, and for core support masteries, we have Soul Reaver. This is an interesting mastery set, and it's going to do a lot of different things. But primarily, this will have Soul Drain, and this will be your Vigor recovery, and we'll go back to that in a second. But you'll notice Deathbringer, this will be your 5th way to gain Curse of Sword stacks, and probably the least fastest, so I don't recommend it. It's just a supplementary way. And this will take place only at the end of your turn, so if you have max Vigor, Vigor will decrease by 10, you'll gain Curse of Sword. So of course, as long as you're killing, Soul Drain is going to keep that coming, so, they just feed into each other kind of cyclically, and very important. Also, and this is neat, if you put an enemy out of action, you'll gain Lost Spirit, and Lost Spirit will basically give buffs to allies, and then debuffs to enemies. Very interesting, and you'd be surprised what works out from this. So yeah, this is definitely mandatory, but most importantly, Soul Drain of all things. Everything else kind of just comes with, Cursed Sword, Deathbringer, Invisible Sword. These are all part of the normal kit, so you're really just adding Soul Drain, and it's just stunning. Along with Magic Sword Control and Avalon, you guys don't have to use my build, but these are pretty mandatory. This is going to reduce your cast delay to where Albus isn't finishing at 200 AT after a chain kill run or something, and then Avalon's going to keep the Vigor down, and as you can see, Vigor plays a massive role into Magic Knight's kit. So even the Vigor recovery, if for whatever reason Blessing of Avalon triggers, it's going to consume all your Vigor. And so that Vigor recovery, that right there alone is going to be able to give you basic slash, which will take 5 Vigor like I showed earlier. It's just enough to stay, ahead of the game when your turn comes back up from Blessing of Avalon. All right, and this is the Muramasa Showcase. Excited to do this with you guys. So, of course, before you go in, Magic Amp as a buff. Can't go wrong with that. We're on 50 Violent. I do consider this the hardest criminal case at the moment. Of course, this is a Violent too, and you guys are, I'm sure, very well familiar with 50 Violent by now. So we're actually going to start with using Tornado Slash, and that's because his first hit won't kill, and I like getting that extra action point to pop Potion. So I'm going to pop Excitement Potion here, and what that's going to do, you're still going to have 100% on your soft targets, but it's going to help with the targets with Keen Sense, like this Sharpshooter here. You'll notice I had 87 on that. And, it would have been 57. It's just something you don't really want to have to mess with. Again, you don't have to do the potion, but I recommend it. And if you run the offensive version of this, where you're running Gold Molar, you'll have a much higher crit rate, and all the killing will be a lot easier. He just won't have the incredible defense damage that Draki Perfect Scale will give. So right here, when you guys are seeing this, you should be categorizing these guys into soft or hard targets. So I'm going to go for the Ranger, just keep these stacks going. We're currently at 14. I thought it'll be one hit easy. 17, and of course, tank hard targets means Tornado Slash, and this will vary depending on your damage and your setup, but the overall concept will remain. So I'm basically just doing like a solo run here with Albus, and the core idea is that you guys have seen what 99 stacks does. Of course, that's crazy, and you've seen his defenses, which is also awesome. But how do you get to that point of 99 stacks? And that's what I'm primarily trying to go over here. So we're at 25 now. We're just making our way through. I'm holding Windwalk and Leaf until I see a reason to really use it. White Clown, again, when it first starts, you'll want to be using Tornado Slash, but as stacks get up there, he's at 31. That means 31% block shred on top of alligator blade. So he's at 61% block shred at the moment. I actually don't mind being attacked too much. That's going to start triggering his opportunist trait, and that's going to increase your crit chance. So that 87 that you saw on the mobs with Keen Sense is eventually going to go up to 97, which basically feels like 100%. And notice the vigor lost now. Now you're actually starting to see, negative 42, but of course 47 from drain. But what's neat here is we're at 43 stacks of Curse of Sword. This is something that Great Swordsman doesn't do so well. So I'm actually going to do Tornado Slash on the Bicron, and he can kill Bicrons now easily. And as you guys get up in the stacks here, even Schwarzdestrom will be killable in the field, non-EMP'd by Albus, given the right scenario, gear, and mastery board. So we're at, what's it been, 2 turns total, and we're at 45 stacks or so. Yeah, I want to say maybe 46. And so the enemy is taking their full turn. It's just Albus on the field here. I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is, at least to me, to gain stacks. So we got a White Clown come up. And you're going to see Lost Spirit happen here, which is really cool. So he's going to clear his own bleeding, which is pretty awesome. Curse of Soul is going to go out, and look at that. Freezing, Inferiority, Frostbite, High Voltage, Electric Shock. We could just one-shot him right here, but I actually decided to go over for that Ranger because I particularly hate Rangers for a lot of reasons. Poison, silence, bleeding, all that crap. Just no thanks. And while we're down here, I notice, all right, well, there's more melee mobs. And this is where it starts getting neat. Notice, this is a tank mob, but I'm at 48 stacks. I didn't use Tornado Slash. I'm using Wind Slash, and that's because he can now kill them in 1. And this is where the build starts getting kind of out of hand. Black Clown, 0 block, hitting for 3,200. I'm 1 point out, so I'll go ahead and use Windwalk. And we're just going to keep going and keep collecting stacks. Generally, like I said before, you'll be getting 3 stacks per kill. That can vary. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 4. But you can see he's getting more and more powerful, and it's just getting way out of hand. And keep in mind, this is like, what, 3 turns or something? So he's at 62. He's now at 65. We're going to go ahead and leaf just to get up further. Ways up here. So this will be what, 68. We're gonna go ahead and double slash on way, of course, because of impulse fields. Now he's at 71, and of course his stacks are it's starting to get out of hand now, right? Like now it's starting to feel like what the hell. So we're gonna continue on. 74, kill this dude. And, how you pick your targets is very important, especially in the beginning. But as you're getting longer and longer, it won't matter, as you can clearly see. We're now at, 81 stacks. And so Albus just goes on to just murder everything. And I think you guys get the point. But I wanted to show you, it is very easy to build stacks. Alright guys, that wraps up this video. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. This is an advanced build, and I know this won't appeal to every player, and that's totally fine. I would say that, if your concern is that he's overextending and going far beyond what the party line is, then fight to where he can get back to, then run him right back. That's it. Keep him as a tank member, potentially. Do whatever you need to do, but make no mistake, Melee Magic Knight is totally crazy. And I do think that in the near future, we will see Samson and eventually Ben Schneider. And so the focus will be on criminals, and this is where Magic Knight really shines. You can totally do this on a beast map, like with the crabs and stuff. I would prefer Great Swordsman personally. And I think they both have their specific use cases, but I just wanted to show what Magic Knight could really do. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, please subscribe. Lets me know I'm doing a good job. Of course, follow me on Twitch and YouTube and stuff. And until next time.